What's going on, you fam? Raiyuden here. Here's the second, no, actually this is the third day of the Legends Extreme Battle Royale stuff. Still gonna be using the same team, just because I don't want to bother leveling up and soul boosting a bunch of other extreme units. And I think people are beginning to pick up that androids androids are the best team to run, best set of extreme units. Because I think I came across two extreme android teams. Now this guy here, he has the advantage over me because he has his extreme red android he buffed up, and I ignored mine just because I was like, it's kind of an old extreme at this point and I highly doubt he'd be viable. But he does have the advantage over me because I do have a yellow Android 16, which is not good. Later in the video, you're gonna see my phone begin to start choking up. My phone, the last match was pretty chaotic. It was like playing with a blindfold. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe, how the hell is this happening? So I typically start out with Android 16 because most people run around with Android 17 and 18, and Android 16, they don't have a type advantage over on him. But he does have type advantage if someone was to use Android 18. So I get the priority back, things are okay. Now I'm at a bit of a disadvantage here because he could swap out to his Android 16 if he wanted to. When I use my main ability, I heard him do a sidestep, so I quickly switch out. I know he can't swap into his, I think it's Android 20. Android 20 that quick enough, so try to go for a key blast, but that was a fail. And even though he has type advantage, Android 16 is holding his own pretty well. That unit hasn't aged very well. I have my Rising Rush ready, so I had to take him out. He was the one I wanted to get rid of first, but regardless of who went in, so long as I took somebody out, that's what I wanted. Damage is looking okay, even though thankfully she was brought down low enough that we could take her out, but he guesses my Rising Rush correctly, so things aren't looking good for me right now. He has his Android 16, so I knew he's going to do a Rising Rush here. I couldn't swap out, so things were definitely not looking good on my end. And this is kind of why I hate Rising Rush. The outcome of this match could entirely come down to this. Like if I didn't guess this correctly, and my opponent got their Rising Rush off, and I was down one, and I had my Rising Rush guess, that's it. You 2 versus 3 advantage, unless you really outplay them, like there's a significant skill difference between you and your opponent, a lot of it has already been decided just because you immediately lost one vantage. It's crazy. That's why if they're gonna do this thing, they should really get rid of Rising Rush. Like if you're trying to make it super competitive, get rid of Rising Rush. So things are definitely not looking good. I couldn't afford to lose anyone, so I'm gonna quickly swap out to Android 18. Baited out his sidestep and I get caught. So things are definitely not looking good. He's definitely has the upper hand here. Both of my units are about to die, and Android 16 is taking crazy damage already. I completely forgot that he could do that, that his green card lets him absorb Ki Blast, and when he swaps in I believe he's able to absorb Ki Blast, so things are definitely not looking good. But I knew that this extreme was the oldest one on his team, and my Android 16 could tank it. It would not be good if I were to swap out to someone and lose them, so I'm trying to make sure I just have my 3 vanishes. That's all I need here. So I knew that once I made them use their vanish, and they already did all their swiping out, they couldn't switch out to anyone else, so I would be able to take this. So now that I have my vanish, I use my main ability just so that my costs are reduced and that I can get hopefully another Rising Rush. I use 17's main ability. His reduced damage is pretty significant. It was I think it was key for this. Get him with the shoulder tackle. So I already have my next Rising Rush, and all I needed to do is make sure I took somebody out. So it was great that he brought in his 16 because he was the one that was definitely going out. Handling an old red extreme unit is not a problem. really good damage, and we get it right, so we take him out. Now 3 weak guys with Vanish versus 1, I guess, you know, like 60-70% HP single unit. I have the advantage just because I can keep vanishing. So 1 blue card is all it took to change the tides. And there we have it. Nice little way to turn that one around. And then we're just gonna jump straight to the second one. I'm still gonna keep them all recorded all in one, in case people say, "Oh, is this really Legends Battle Royale?" I don't know. Just to squash any ambiguity. So we go for our second match here. It didn't take too long to find opponents, which is great. There are times where matchmaking, it takes forever to find somebody. Absolutely takes forever. It's crazy. Here's another interesting team, an entire Saiyan team, although it was kind of strange seeing the androids at the end. I didn't think too much of it. I know that Yellow Bardock is very, very strong, and if you tie him with units that provide additional green cards, his sustain is really good as well, so I knew that he was the one that I had to worry about the most. I guess he would have ran a full Saiyan team if he had the other Team Bardock units. Oh well, poor guy. Patiently waiting for the load. Still going to be starting out. Oh no, I didn't start out with Android 16 this time, just because. Oh, I knew why. Because Android 17 here, out of all the units that he had, no one would have a type advantage over him. So regardless of whatever matchup he could bring, I was going to be okay. But if he was forced to bring out his Android 18, then he would be forced to bring a much weaker unit, because there's only one unit providing buffs for her, and that was the Android 17 there. So things are looking good. 16's tanking it very well. I'm not thinking too much about this. Like, yeah, type advantage and a blue card, that's not much damage. Although it started to lag here, so I was like, oh god, here we go. It's this charade again. Didn't want to use the blue card. I wanted to get those Dragon Balls in. I was hoping that there'd be enough time to go swap out, use main ability, and then use the blue card, but I knew there wasn't, so. Now, I don't know what that was. I kept pressing the tap attack, but for some reason it didn't want to complete it, so he gets priority again, and then he gets a Rising Rush. I'm like, what the hell? What is that? It pissed me off so bad, because it's just so stupid. Like, I'm not doing anything different. It's nonsense like this, it just makes me, like, I don't want to say hate the game, but it frustrates you and makes you not want to play. So I'm already at a significant disadvantage. I lost someone, but thankfully I have my Rising Rush. So I bring down Bardock quite a bit, but his main ability heals him, so it was all wasted. But all I know is I need to take out somebody, so regardless of who he brings out right now, if I kill him, then that's okay. So it looks like Turles is dying this time. Turles is definitely dying. Now if he guessed that Rising Rush, I'd be screwed. 100% I'd be screwed. I'd be at a huge disadvantage. I use 17's main ability here, just because I knew he was going to take some hits, and it was absolutely key for this fight. He's taking like pennies worth for damage. I'm not even afraid. He can tank all the hits. Our opponent took way too long in order to use their blue card, which comes to my advantage, so no problem at all. You can now see in the gameplay, you can see tiny hints of frames dropping, and that's because my phone is struggling. Yeah, see? I should have taken this as a clue that I probably shouldn't immediately jump to the next one. I should give my phone a break, but I was like, oh, push it to the limit. Let's just see what happens. Who knows? So I immediately after this one, I just go straight for the next one. It's probably not the best idea, but whatever. He gets the vanish, but that's okay. I mean, even if he got a Rising Rush here, I'd still be okay. He uses his blue card, and I say, okay, here's mine. Pew! Dead. And that's the second win. Man, if I didn't have that lagger on the first day when I did this, I could have been flawless at this point. I'm still so frustrated about that. Pretty much gonna win, but he lags out and forces a draw. That's such BS. We jump in straight for the third one, and within like 10 seconds we find our next opponent, which is nice. Still waiting. There we go. See, another Androids team. People are picking out the Androids team is definitely the best team to run for this Legends Battle Royale thing. I still start out with Android 16 because out of all of his Android units, he has the, just like my team, he neglected the others. They're just intended to be there on bench, and 16, 17, 18 are intended to be your starting lineup. So I knew that if I used 16, then no one would have a type advantage over me. But if I were to get lucky and he was to run with Android 18 first, then I'd get type advantage. Sort of the best case scenario in terms of your starting unit. Now the interesting about that thought though is my opponent had the same train of thought. I really liked that. I thought that was cool. I knew that I had an opponent that was more analytical than the other ones. So he was thinking the same thing, which is great. Yeah, that means I knew I was in for a good match. And he could charge step. I'm envious. Or sort of. I don't know. But now here's where the handicap starts. So things are looking okay. Like we're not. He's running out of. He can't keep switching out or whatever, and it starts to lag a little bit. But here's where the real issue begins. My phone begins dropping frames like crazy. It starts lagging like crazy, and that screws up how well I can play so bad. You're beginning to see it. It's choking up every now and then, but it gets worse. Just wait for it. It gets really, really bad. Imagine dealing with timed events with this crap. That's what I had to deal with. Now I didn't want to swap out to 17 yet because I knew that he would immediately swap out to 18, so my priority was get the key and then just farm out those Dragon Balls first so I could use it. And now that no one swapped out and I could still I could switch it to my 16, I brought him out. Another little like timed event. I thought I had it, but I guess he had me on that one. Lag's beginning to pick up a little bit, which is not looking great. I know he has a Rising Rush by now though. It's always that way. See, there it is. Good old Rising Rush. Thankfully I get lucky and I guess it correctly. I didn't know what to properly pick because he pretty much hadn't used a blue card or a green card, at least I don't think. So I decided I'll do as much damage as I can, and then I'll go for my Rising Rush, because regardless of who's coming out here, they're dying. And I was thinking I'd be safe with using my blue card here. Maybe he would think that I need to keep the blue card in order to do damage, but he guesses that as well. And at this point I'm like, yes, you know, an opponent that's really like thinking like I am. He noticed I didn't use a single blue card, so that's what he switches, so that's what he chooses. And I was like really happy. This is what this Legends Battle Royale should be about, like bringing in tough opponents like this, but in the end you just get a bunch of crap. You just get a bunch of laggers. I win that timed event, and then here we go. This is where the frames start dropping. It starts getting really, really bad, and now I'm playing with this really bad handicap. Like I try to time it, but on my end the frames were just jumping so much that I couldn't accurately see what my opponent was doing. Get another timed event and it's just getting worse and worse. I got super lucky there. My opponent dropped the ball there, but it's just getting worse and worse. Look at this. Look at how choppy it's getting. I was like, uh-oh, what am I gonna do here? I still had to do my best. Still had to win. Still had a match to win here. I knew I was gonna be screwing up a lot, so I wanted to use 17's main ability. Let him tank a couple hits. He already used his Vanish, so there goes his 16. Things are looking good for me because he's a man down now. Oh no, low battery. Go in there. Things are looking good. I also have my Rising Rush, which is looking fantastic, but oh my god, the frame drop. Phone, you just need to stay alive for... You know what, I don't know. Who knows when YouTube's gonna come through for you, boy. We take out 18, which is great. And now things are looking fantastic. Things are looking, looks like we're going to secure the W. And I think my opponent at this point quit. I don't know why he or she didn't just go for the forfeit. What's the point in making me just sit here and shoot you? I don't know. Should have just forfeited, and so we could have ended it. Win another clash, like obviously, just a 51. And yeah, so the rest of the match is just me shooting the dude because he wants to lose. Although I didn't understand why he didn't just go for a forfeit. I don't know. I have no idea. I was just charging up, not even gonna bother with sidestepping, just dish out as much damage as I can. For some reason, he or she goes for a Rising Rush, and I was like, I guess he or she thinks that if they take out my 18 right here, that they would have a chance to coming back, but I was like, nope, I'm gonna swap that down. Gonna guess your Rising Rush here and seal the deal, and then he forfeits at the end for whatever reason. And then those are my matches for today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for my next set of matches. Let me guys know if you like watching these. I don't know. I don't know if people care, but I figured I may as well share them. Share some thinking. Maybe help some people out get those 300 Chrono Crystals. We'll see. We all need them, Crystal boys. Peace.